Hey guys, Useless here, and today I am back with some pretty big news. So, James Gunn has finally revealed to us his brand new slate for what he is calling the first part of Phase 1 of the DC universe. Now, I have already seen this video, so this isn't going to be a reaction to it, but yeah, I was at work when it came out, so I knew everything was going to get spoiled for me, so I just decided to watch it anyways. But I do just want to talk more deeply on the topics than I was able to talk to on like the YouTube shorts and TikToks that I posted. So we're going to watch it again and we're going to analyze it a bit. So let's just hit play.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO
He's James Gunn.
of DC Studios. So
that is what he is.
Know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time.
True.
So one of our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation.
So we already knew this, but that's a pretty pretty good just reiteration of the fact that he's not only connecting the movies and the TV shows, apparently video games as well as animated stuff is going to be connected as well. So I'm still really confused as to how exactly that's all going to work out, because it's like, are we going to get like a Superman movie and then potentially a Superman video game with that same like character in the video game? Or are we going to get Superman movies and are we only going to get video games of like other characters that aren't being adapted to movie and TV show? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what comes of that. Although we actually don't hear anything about video games in this video.
The characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman,
yes,
or Todd Phillips' Joker, or
yes,
Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworld.
Love that. Love that we finally have like just a one-word descriptor of things that are not in the main DC universe, Elseworlds. I think that's great, because it's one of those confusing things where it's like, I feel like if you're not like super tied into like all of the news and all this stuff like we are, I feel like a lot of general audiences probably don't really know whether or not like Joker and Matt Reeves' Batman and Shazam and Aquaman, like, are these all in the same universe? Is Peacemaker in there with them? I feel like a lot of general audiences are probably confused. Like, no cap, I know people, just normal people, that didn't even realize that Black Adam was a DC movie. They didn't even know. Like, they had zero interest in the movie anyways, as evidenced by the box office. But I don't know. Not that the whole Black Adam situation is also just a mediocre movie that didn't capture people's interest to even look into it. But either way, with all that being said, I think this is a good move.
Outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that...
So, that bit here is a little weird, because he's saying that that's been off in its own thing anyways. Like, that Shazam was off in its own corner of the DCEU anyways. Let me listen to that again, actually.
Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash.
He says that connects very well. Is he saying that they're going to retcon that part of the continuity and just have those Shazam movies sort of like retroactively be a part of his new DCU? Or is he just saying that, yes, that Shazam movie is going away with the old DCEU as well, but it's just not going to be as messy as it maybe could have been because it's kind of its own thing anyways? I don't know. I don't really know what that means yet. I really hope we get more clarification on that at some point. But either way, continue.
A fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe.
And there he goes. He flat out says it. The Flash is going to reset the DC universe. So technically, when we're looking at this, we're actually not getting at least according to what he's saying here, we're not really getting a DC reboot. We are going to, the Flash movie is, I guess, going to be a Flashpoint situation that basically gives James Gunn a complete blank slate to work with, and then impose whatever new storylines he wants to do. So that's what a lot of people have been like theorizing and predicting. And here we have confirmation that that is indeed what's going to happen.
Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about.
So I love all of this. He's basically confirming that Blue Beetle is presumably going to be, because after the Flash resets everything, presumably Blue Beetle is going to be able to be a part of the new DC universe. Now, one of the weird things is, does that also mean that Aquaman 2 is going to be a part of that universe since it's coming after the Flash? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how, because if we're taking what he's saying, right, where the Flash is going to be a reset instead of a hardcore reboot, where it is an in-universe reset, I mean, it makes sense that maybe this, whatever Aquaman we're going to be getting in Aquaman 2 is going to be some kind of variant, another variant of, to use MCU terminology, another variant of the Aquaman that we had in the DCEU that just kind of exists in the new DC universe. And obviously with Blue Beetle, we've never had a Blue Beetle, so that totally is fine and consistent within itself. So I don't know. Honestly, I could be misinterpreting a lot of this as well, because his language is still a little vague in my opinion, where I'm not entirely sure what all of this stuff actually means. But from what I'm getting from this is the door seems to still be open for Zachary Levi to come back as Shazam, and the door is still open for Jason Momoa to come back to remain as Aquaman. If they decide to go that way, I'm not. That's gonna make obviously all the Henry Cavill Superman fans happy, or unhappy, I should say. So we'll see what happens with that. But now we're gonna actually get into his projects.
Out now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you is
Oh yeah, so this first chapter, what he's saying, actually it says it here in the title of the video. The first chapter is Gods and Monsters. So that's an interesting title.
Part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commando.
Oh yeah, and I guess instead of phases, they're using chapters, and this is not all of chapter 1. So, but yeah, let's let him talk about Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
So that's cool. I actually really dig that. So yeah, I don't know anything about Creature Commandos, but I was reading a little bit about them. Apparently, they are these are horror movie monsters. I think that's actually supposed to be Frankenstein, and I think that's actually supposed to be the Bride of Frankenstein. And so these are monsters that the government recruits to fight Nazis in World War II. And that sounds kind of dope, to be honest with you. I mean, it kind of also sounds like the Suicide Squad, but with monsters, which I mean I'm down for. And I think this is Weasel from the Suicide Squad movie, which is awesome. I'm pretty sure that's Weasel, right? So we'll see.
So something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have character voice as who plays them.
Oh yeah, and he's saying that we're going to have the voice, whoever does the voices in the show is also going to play them in live action at some point. So I think that's a really cool idea. And I think probably it probably means that we're probably not going to get like A-list celebrities playing these characters, but I'm totally fine with that, to be honest. Like, I'm fine with lesser known actors that are more flexible to switch between animation and live action. It's kind of that weird thing where like Tom Holland is now too big to voice Peter Parker in the animated stuff, so you get not Tom Holland voicing him in like What If. So I'll be excited if they're able to get lesser known actors and like tie them down to doing voice work as well in shows and games.
Live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol.
So, I haven't seen Watchmen, but if they're getting the guy that did Doom Patrol, sign me up. Doom Patrol is awesome. I think it is probably the most underrated, like comic book show that's out right now. Not a ton of people are watching it, but it's genuinely phenomenal. So I'll watch whatever he does. I never got around to watching the HBO Watchmen show, which shame on me, I know. But yeah, and Waller obviously picking up off of where Peacemaker left off. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is...
So yeah, he's saying that this is the true beginning of the DCU. I'm still interpreting that as being, as meaning, I should say, that everything happening after Flash is still in continuity with the main DCU. I think. That's what I think at the moment. But again, his wording is a little vague for my taste, but whatever.
It's called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it.
By the way, he says it's being written by him. I have to imagine that he's going to direct it as well. Like, if he's saying that this is going to be like the first, the first, like, kind of the first thing to kind of this new DCU, I have to imagine that James Gunn is going to direct it, and he's going to set the tone for what the DCEU is. Or not EU, DCU.
Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is...
Yeah, so by the way, this is the like the show, that the Green Lantern HBO Max show that has been rumored for like years. I mean, this probably isn't like how it was originally going to be conceived, but this is that show as it's developed over the years.
It's really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost...
Yeah, he's saying that it's terrestrial-based, because I know one of the questions that I had when it came to making a Green Lantern show, I'm like, can you really do that on TV? Like a Green Lantern show set in space? I think it makes a lot of sense that it's going to be terrestrial-based, so they can go to like Ontario, Canada, where every television show is filmed.
True detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea of it being like a mystery show, of like the Green Lanterns, investigating something. I think that sounds really cool. I'm not a massive like Green Lantern fan. I remember I watched the Green Lantern animated series, so but it seems like people really wanted to see either Hal Jordan or John Stewart, so getting them both and them working together to solve a mystery, I think that sounds really cool. So I'm pumped for that.
Next is a big movie called The Authority.
Yeah,
The Authority
I've never heard of these
is
guys.
A passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters.
Yeah, let me get a good look at these guys. So it looks like there's like a flying guy with a bubble over his head. There's some lady with wings. Some like Batman knockoff dude. A British lady with lightning. Not a female Silver Surfer. Yeah, I don't know what these guys are all about.
we are now bringing into the DCU,
But they're getting a movie, not just a show, a movie.
and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing it.
So yeah, it kind of seems like a little bit. Seems like it's gonna have a little bit of The Boys energy, where it's about superheroes that are not what your normal superhero looks like. I imagine these guys probably won't be like as bad as The Boys heroes, because The Boys heroes are like some of them are like borderline psychopaths, right? Like Homelander, but they'll probably be maybe more in the vein of like an A-Train, or well, not even, because the way he's describing them is that they want to do good, but they just think they need to go farther than like your normal hero, right? That's not really the whole thing with A-Train and the Deep and characters like that is that they're just more self-serving than anything. So maybe not exact comparison.
Television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros.
Yeah, I think this looks
but
dope.
with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
Yeah, I don't know, like a Game of Thrones style show with like Themyscira ladies. I think this sounds dope.
The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold
this one is
the
really
story
interesting.
of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good way of maybe perhaps differentiating this Batman from the Robert Pattinson Batman. Is, I'm sure it's obviously going to be a lot lighter in tone and all of that as well, but introducing the Bat family and really making it more comic booky than the Matt Reeves version, because a lot of people, like, I've gotten into arguments with people over the years of like, people really wanting the Robert Pattinson Batman to have a Robin. I'm like, I don't know if a Robin fits in that world. Like I'm just like imagining like Robert Pattinson like taking a Robin into like a crime scene where like the Riddler like beat some guy's face in with a hammer and he's like suffocated him with a plastic bag. Like I'm just trying to like imagine Robert Pattinson taking like Jacob Tremblay into that crime scene. It just doesn't fit. In my opinion, I don't think a Robin fits in the Matt Reeves Batman universe. But I think like in a DC universe that's a lot more comic booky, where he's not where it's Damian Wayne who was trained to be an assassin without Batman. I think that fits a lot more. And then having like a Bat family with maybe a Dick Grayson or an Jason Todd, maybe that were Robins in the past, and we're not seeing a live action Batman being a a child abuser in the present day. I think that this direction it seems like the most optimal way of doing a live action Robin. And just seeing a Batman have like a father-son dynamic, which is something that we haven't seen in live action really, aside from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, which, I mean, we can just forget that Batman and Robin exists. But even then, like, how old was Chris O'Donnell in Batman Forever? I think he was 45 years old, I want to say. So, yeah, this is going to be a dynamic that I feel like we haven't really seen before.
Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold.
Yeah, I don't know much about Booster Gold, so I can't say I'm too hyped about this one.
Heroes. He is a fascinating
but,
guy. He's
yeah, I know he's a character that
from
people
the
wanted to
future
see.
who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, this one is interesting as well.
We're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings...
Yeah, actually, I don't know, like, I know that there are a lot of people out there that are gonna look at like a Supergirl thing and be like, oh, woke, woke, oh, they're going woke with it. So, but I actually think this sounds like a interesting story of like, kind of an antithesis to Superman in a way, where Superman was able to be raised by a loving family. I think having a character that has just seen just utter and complete horror in her life, and for her to come to Earth and really have to like learn. I imagine this is kind of the way it's going to go, is having a character that's going to have to like learn more about humanity and find that humanity as a teenager. I don't know. That just sounds like a fascinating story to me. And although I don't know if this movie is going to take place in, on like the chunk of Krypton that she was raised in, and it's going to be more story about that, and maybe the movie ends when she gets to Earth, or I don't know if that's going to be ground that's covered in the beginning of the movie and the majority of it takes place on Earth. I'm not sure, but either way, I don't know. This story sounds fascinating to me. So, but I don't know. And I'll also be interested to see if, because I know Sasha Cale, I think is the actress's name. She's going to play her in, she's going to be playing Supergirl in The Flash. So I don't know if they're going to carry that actress over. So we'll see.
Everybody around her perish in some terrible way. Talk about a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about. A very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp.
Yeah, and they're saying it's going to be a horror movie, which at this point, I guess I think it's the first horror comic book movie, because Marvel did beat them to the punch kind of with Werewolf by Night. But that's more of like a TV special, so I don't think that really counts as a movie. I think this will make DC, they'll be the first ones to put out like a theatrically released horror film, which is kind of cool.
Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the story.
And that's it. So he says it is totally outside of the rest of the DCU. It will still feed into the rest of the stories.
Anyway, those are the stories.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's just like a multiverse kind of thing, or if he's just saying that we're not going to see like Superman and Batman in it, but it'll like play into certain storylines. Again, he's being vague here.
Stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was
I don't know,
exciting.
man. I can't help but feel optimistic. Like, James Gunn just seems genuine to me. He just, like, I don't know, maybe all this stuff turns out to be poo-poo caca. It's possible. It's very possible, But he just seems like a genuine guy, and I truly believe that he's going to try his best to make good movies for us. So we'll see what happens. I think this slate is interesting to say the least. I think obviously you have your Superman movie, your Batman movie. But then you have a bunch of like weirder stuff in there, like not the Ascenders. What were they? Hold on. The Authority, like weird stuff like that, weird stuff like Booster Gold. But I mean, listen, James Gunn has not made a movie that I've disliked. I mean, that's just it. Like, I love most of his movies. Like, I love the first two Guardians. I love Peacemaker. Suicide Squad is the only movie that I've gone and was like, that was pretty good, not great. That literally is the only product of it so far. So I have faith that he'll be able to do it. I think that, I don't know, my only gripe right now, or not gripe, but my only precaution is that I really would have rather had seen him do like a complete reset. And it's obviously going to annoy people that he's picking and choosing what he wants to continue forward. Like, obviously with that Amanda Waller show, it seems likely that he is going, that's basically like, yeah, Peacemaker is going to carry over into this new DCU. And that's obviously going to annoy a lot of people because he's kind of picking and choosing what he wants to carry over and what he's leaving behind. A lot of people are still going to be upset about Henry Cavill as Superman. I'm personally fine with it. Like, I don't really care. As long as we get good movies, as long as his Superman movie is good, as long as I get a good actor to play Superman, like, I can honestly take or leave Henry Cavill. I don't think Henry Cavill is going to make a movie good. The director and the script is going to make the movie good. Like, they can get a good actor. It's going to be that'll be fine. The question is the movie actually going to be good? And I have faith that James Gunn will do it. And I'm pretty sure he's going to direct it as well. Also, just throwing out this prediction, I think Ben Affleck is going to direct that Batman movie. I think he is. I don't know that for a fact, but James Gunn did, he's mentioned that he's spoken with Ben Affleck, and he said that Ben Affleck wants to direct a movie for them, and he wants Ben Affleck to direct a movie for them. So I'm just saying, I think Ben Affleck is going to direct that Batman movie. Yeah, either way, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, I'm optimistic, but maybe it'll be poo poo caca. But yeah, I don't have anything else for the outro. Bye. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Bye.